Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Grave, the podcast where I talk to friends, family, and even strangers about their paranormal experiences. We are less than a week until Christmas, and how better to celebrate the holidays than by listening to some creepy tales by the fire and maybe sipping a fine bourbon. I suppose you can adjust the beverage to the drink of your choice for this holiday horror fantasy that I am currently painting. As I won't be speaking to many of you until after Christmas, I do hope you all have a safe and happy holiday wherever you are and whoever you're spending it with. I can say that because we do have some listeners from across the pond. Thank you for your support. Before we get into this week's episode, I do just want to say that there will be a new episode next Friday. Since this Christmas is so early in the week, it will not interfere with our scheduling, and neither will New Year's. So we will be full speed ahead until the end of this season, which, like all our other seasons, will conclude with episode 10. And I'm not going to tell you much about that one, except that I believe I have saved the best for last. Now on to this week's episode. This week we're talking to Maggie, who is someone I also met on TikTok. She posted a video discussing a few paranormal experiences that she had as a kid, and I really just had to reach out to see if she wanted to chat through them with me. You can find Maggie on TikTok at The Real Fear Foundry. Maggie's stories will also be broken up into two parts, as has become somewhat of a custom for this season. In this first episode, we discussed the experiences she had at her family home when she was a child, and despite the humor she tells these stories with, on their face, these tales are quite chilling. So without further ado, folks, here is part one of Maggie's experiences.
So I grew up in Woodbury, Minnesota, so like suburbs of the Twin Cities. It was like, now, of course, like when you're growing up, you think like, oh, this is such a crappy house. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, that was such a nice house. Like, oh, what an idyllic childhood you had.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, so like this really like pretty Tudor house on a cul-de-sac, very like suburban America vibes. The house itself is 3 stories, I guess, like main level, upstairs, and then we have a basement that's kind of like a half basement or whatever. And I guess technically something happened on all of the floors, but things were always spooky in the basement and got extra spooky as time went on. But really, like the first few instances of something happening were very like, not lighthearted, but like they felt good. Like they felt like good things that were happening.
Not menacing or sinister in any way.
Yeah. Like and again, kind of later on, it felt a bit more, didn't feel as good.
Okay.
Not that I think they were bad necessarily. Like I don't think there was a demon in my house or anything, but I think just like, I think things were unhappier at that point, which made sense at the time. But anyway, we'll get to that. So the first instance, I'm one of 4 kids. My sister's 10 years older than me. And then I have a brother who's 8 years older than me and a brother who's 4 years older than me. So I'm younger by quite a bit. And in the upstairs, you kind of go up the steps, and on the left-hand side, there was kind of this small box room where whoever the youngest was, or whoever didn't live in the house, generally got that room. So
you got thrown to.
Exactly. I was the smallest. I got to sit into the middle seat, and I got the smallest bedroom. And then it kind of moved over, like the next bedroom on the left-hand side was bigger. So that was my brothers shared that room for a while. And then my sister had the other room upstairs by my parents. So all 4 rooms were upstairs, but then we converted kind of a storage room in the basement. That was like this big empty room into a bedroom. And so then the oldest sibling got that room because, of course, you know, you're in the basement, you got more privacy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So as we got older, kind of everyone ended up shuffling around all of the rooms and moved to the next biggest one as everyone left the house or moved to the basement. And so at this point, my sister had left home she graduated from high school, moved to college. I moved from the tiny room into the next biggest room, and I was very excited. Got it all decorated, all girly, had like a little picket fence. So yeah, I was around 8 years old. So like old enough to know what's happening, but also still young enough to be kind of naive
Yeah.
or like
Yeah. You're only
what's
8, so
yeah, only 8. I mean, they're not the brightest. I moved to this new room and I was all excited, but and my sister moved to the smallest room because she wasn't really staying there full time. She's just there for weekends whenever she comes home.
Hmm.
And her boyfriend ended up painting like these beautiful clouds all over the wall, and she had like this really cute bedspread, and like I just ended up like really missing my sister, and she had this super cute room that she wasn't using, and I kind of missed my room, and so I was like, I might just go, just stay. I told my mom like I miss Em. I just go sleep in her room, my room, and she's like, that's fine. And so I go back, it's now referred to as the cloud room. That's what it was. And and so I'm kind of laying, the bed is the feet are kind of facing the door, and I'm laying there. I always kept the door open a crack because I'm scared of the dark. And the
Same.
hallway light, right? The hallway light was always, left on.
Yep.
And I was just I think I was even like crying because I missed my sister, and just feeling all the feels for an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a little girl who looked kind of roughly my age walked from the room I was meant to be in into the hallway, and I was like, huh. And I think like I get in a place when I'm really emotionally distraught, this is not the first time that's happened, but like really strange things, I just brush them off when I'm really emotional. I'm like, oh, whatever, my problems are bigger than this strange girl who's walking in my hallway. And like it didn't faze me in the moment. I was just kind of like, oh, that's weird. And my mom does daycare, and so I thought like, is it a daycare kid? But it's bedtime, so there shouldn't be a daycare kid here. And I didn't recognize her, and obviously I know all the daycare kids.
Yeah.
And she kind of just like walked in the hallway and then looked at me, and like it was like this very calm, comforting feeling. And then she just walked back into the bedroom, and I was like, huh, weird. Anyway, I miss my sister.
Wait, hold on. So that's nuts. But so when she like, was this like a full? Was she transparent?
Oh, yeah. No, I fully thought it was a child. I fully thought like,
so
oh,
like
a
young
daycare kid, or yeah. And it didn't again process with me. I think because I'm so used to kids being in my house all the time that like seeing a kid in my house, that's a very normal thing for me. Right. So it didn't like immediately raise a red flag. I'm like, oh, maybe my brother has a friend over, or a daycare kid had to stay late, or like there was just so many options in my brain that I was like, I don't need to be worried about this.
Yeah.
And she looked pretty similar to my sister as well. Obviously my sister is significantly older than me. And she seemed to be closer to my age. I guess I can't really remember the age she was, but I remember thinking she looked like a kid. She didn't look like, a teen or whatever, like my older siblings.
Right.
She had like brown, kind of like auburny hair like my sister. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Sounds good. And then I think like the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And so I called my mom. She came in, and I was like, is someone here? She was like, no. And I was like, well, I just saw a little girl come out of the doll room, and like she looked kind of like Em, but she was little like me. And my mom's like, huh, that's strange. Like, this just didn't make it a thing. Like, didn't make it scary. She's like, how did you feel about it? She's like, were you scared? And I said, no. She's like, oh, well, that's okay then. Like, maybe she was just checking on you because she knew you were sad. And I was like, okay. My mom's very like spooky, spiritual. So
well, that's helpful. It's also nice that that ghost child wasn't like terrifying, and she was just like,
I know every other ghost child is the absolute scariest. So right. I don't know how this one got away with it, but yeah, it wasn't scared at all. And I don't know if this might be reading too much into it, but I had a sister who was stillborn between my oldest sister and my brother. and a drawing of her was in my room. I think that also kind of scared me as a kid, that I'm like, I have this kind of like past baby picture in my room. That's creepy
A
as
little
an
morbid,
8-year-old.
but
Yeah, I'm like, put it in your room. I don't want it.
yeah.
And so my mom was like, oh, well, maybe it was Kathleen. Maybe she was checking in on you. And so I was like, well, that's nice. Like, that was like made me feel good about it. And I was like, yeah, maybe. So who knows? Like, the fact that it came from that room and that's where her photo was, like, it could be.
Yeah, I was
Like,
gonna say it's a very interesting connection and insight from your mother to be like, oh, maybe like, and I don't know how things work in the spirit realm, but
yeah.
if she grew a little bit, I
Yeah,
don't
how
know.
they age. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and that's what's another thing is it's like, if she was the age that she should have been, she would have been a lot older. She wouldn't have
Mm.
been that age. But then it's like, well, maybe she knew that I would be scared if she was older or younger, so she made herself my age to like make me less scared. I don't know. Again, reading too much into it, but I was like, interesting, because
Yeah.
that was kind of also the only like child instance realistically that I really had. So like weird that like I don't think there was a little ghost child running around.
Well, I was
So
gonna
I
say,
don't
so
know
just
where
just
she popped up.
as a quick follow up, do you know any history to the house at all? Like, is there?
Yes. Yes. So the people we bought the house from were the original owners of the house. They built the house. Not in some fancy way. I'm sure it was like, a generic new build like
Yeah.
every other suburban 90s house. And it was owned by a couple and their elderly mother who lived on the main floor, which they made like kind of an uh, mother-in-law suite on the main floor, which we turned into our office. But it had like a handicap bathroom and handicap shower in there. And actually, something did happen in that room, which is the last story, so I won't give too much away.
Save it.
But yes, and she did die in the house. I don't know if she died in the house, but she died while at the house, which is why they sold it, because they're like, well, we don't need
The space.
this stuff anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there was suspicious goings on before we were there, but
Okay.
yeah, no kids that I know of. I think it was just them and their mom.
Got it.
Second instance, I was probably, I want to say 13 or 14, because my oldest brother had moved out of the house. My brother closest to me was in the basement. And I was in like kind of the third room. So the room closest to my, on the right-hand side, on the side closest to my parents.
Mhm.
And in that room, I had this like kind of an L-shaped, and I had this 4-poster bed, kind of like tucked in that little L nook in there. One night, I had this like horrible, horrible nightmare. Like to this day, can remember it in vivid detail. Of like, it was, you were in like my elementary school, and somehow I don't know, now it's ridiculous. It was like Nazis came in and they were like trapping everyone, and they were
As they do.
filling, as all they had trap everyone, those Nazis, and they were filling up the school with water, and I was like watching my brother behind the bars like slowly drown, and he was like, I love you so much, like
Oh,
you need to get out of here. And it was like this heartbreaking moment between the two of us, and he probably like left for college recently, maybe that's why I was feeling so like emotional about him. I don't know, it's weird.
yeah.
I don't know why. Definitely wouldn't have had that about my other brother. So it was like this horrible, horrible dream. I woke up and I was just like sobbing, and this man who I assumed was my dad. My dad's not a tall man; he's probably 5'9", average height guy.
Yeah. Oh.
This man walks in, and I remember thinking, weird, from this angle, he looks taller than my bedpost, which my bedpost nearly hit the ceiling. And I was like, maybe it's because I'm laying down, the angle of it. Like, but I remember thinking, like, and it's an extremely tall man, and I couldn't see him. Like, I could see the kind of silhouette of him. But,
But
it's
no like
nighttime,
physical features
no
on his
physical
face.
features. No, there's this kind of dark shadow. And I'm like, I'm crying, it's nighttime, you can't see that much. So like, again, wasn't really worried about it. He comes in and he's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I just had a bad dream. He's like, okay, do you want to talk about it? And I said, like, no, it's okay, like I'll just go back to sleep. He said, okay, I love you too. and he leaves. And I was like, okay. And then again, in my emotional moment, the fact that this extremely tall shadow man who was at the end of my bed didn't really process. And so like it wasn't until the morning where I was thinking about it. And I think I like in the daylight when I was looking at my bed and I was like, there's no way he could be that tall. And so I was like, maybe I was just, still dreaming, whatever. So I went to my dad at breakfast and was like, did you come into my room last night? And he was like, no. And the only other guy in the house was my next older brother, who he and I loathed each other at that point in our lives. And so I was like, you didn't come into my room. He's like, absolutely not. I was like, okay, yeah, I figured. So yeah, again, it was just like, it felt good. He seemed like a nice guy. I don't know. Like,
what an interesting though, like the reassurance of like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, good. Like, I'm not,
Yeah, like I love you.
Yeah,
yeah, like so yeah, it felt very fatherly, I guess. Like that was my immediate thought. Obviously, it was like, oh, this is dad.
Did the voice?
So I had that vibe.
Did the voice sound at all familiar, even though you couldn't make out any like features?
I don't know if it sounded familiar necessarily, but I guess like familiar enough that I wasn't like startled by it to be like, who the hell is this guy in my room? So he must have sounded enough like my dad that it didn't faze me, I guess. Yeah. So
see, that comes across to me as like a little like I know it sounded nice, but that's creepy as shit.
It sounds creepy. It's so creepy. That's what I was like, oh. I mean, I guess the fact that was the only time that I saw him and he seemed like good vibes. I'll like,
just we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, I'll let it go. Yeah. So that was
good grief.
The last one upstairs, and probably the last of the good vibes ghosts in the house.
Those went away.
Yeah, then they got angry. So my basement, although completely finished, like I said, my mom does daycare, so I mean it's probably more creepy in some ways because you have a room full of children's toys, which is generally terrifying.
Yeah.
And kind of like you walk down the steps and there's on the right hand side there's a door to the freezer room, and I don't know about you, I liked to torture myself as a child and would listen to like scary tapes, like scary stories on tape. And
didn't do that.
Kind of
I like reading scary stories, but
I know it was probably before I could read. Honestly, I was like, oh, we're just gonna cut right to the business. And this is a total non sequitur, just in the fact that like, I don't know, I listened to a scary story where like this girl goes down into the basement and looks in the freezer because her mom is like, go get the steak or go get the frozen whatever. So she goes into the basement, opens it, and there's like an arm, and she freaks out. She goes back upstairs and she's like, Mom, there's an arm there. She's like, shut up. No, there's not. Go get the steak. And so she goes back down, she opens it, and there's like a leg, and then like keeps going until it's like a full body. And then she's upstairs in her bedroom that night and no one believed her. And then she hears like, I'm coming up the first step, I'm on the second step, I'm on the landing, I'm outside your bedroom, I've got you, or like whatever.
Yeah.
And like I woke up right at the I got you moment, and it was scarred me for life. So since
that's
then,
terrifying. Just hearing that.
Yeah, I feel like reasonably terrifying.
Yeah,
for any child. Yeah, I was probably like 3. So since then, always been terrified of the basement, and I was always very wary to move into the basement room because of that, because it always creeped me out, and I did not want to go downstairs every single day to go to bed. But I graduated from high school, went to college. My second year of college, I went and studied abroad in England, and I met my now husband. And so when I came back from that trip, I was like very, very sad, missed him a lot. And so my mom was like, well, you need to do something. Like, you're just like bed rotting. You need to like do something. And at that point, and I still do, like, I love decorating rooms. I love interior design and thrifting and like whatever. So she was like, let's totally redo the basement. You can make it, even if you don't sleep there, you can just make it into like a fun room where you can hang out. I was like, okay, so whatever, do up the whole room. And I refused to sleep in it until he was there and came to visit, like, a few months later.
Oh, nice.
And which was, great fun. And it had like a couch and a little TV and like whatever space. So all cute and whatever. My husband is an absolute non-believer in everything, ghosts included.
No ally
And
there.
yeah, no, absolutely not. But I was like, all right, well, at least I'm not alone down here. I've got him. And so on the last night, and actually I didn't tell this one in my TikTok because I didn't have time. But on the last day that he was there, we were, sleeping in bed, whatever, and all of a sudden in the middle of the night, he wakes up and goes, "Get back here!" and like flings himself to the end of the bed and like swings his arm like he's gonna punch something. And I was like sat in bed like, what is happening? And I'm just staring at him. And I was like, what is going on? Are you okay? And he like very calmly like sat back down and he was like, I really don't want to tell you this because I know you're gonna freak out and never sleep in this bed again or sleep in this room again. And I was like, okay, well, you have to tell me now. And he's like, I woke up and I saw like a black shadow move from the end of the bed, moving towards your side of the bed. And I just started sobbing. He's like, you're never going to sleep here again, are you? I'm like, no.
Wait, and he still doesn't believe after that?
Oh, yeah. He lived in England, so he's seen loads of weird stuff. And yeah, he's still like, I don't know. Yeah.
Trick of the light or
yeah, exactly. He saw like a full glowing orb in a pub and he was like, huh, weird.
Yeah. Electricity's crazy over here.
Yeah, wow, that car light really has mass to it.
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
He's wild. So yeah, so that was like, okay, cool. So that was something suspicious in the basement.
Very, yeah.
And didn't love those vibes. Clearly, he didn't seem like a nice guy. My husband was trying to punch him out. But,
yeah.
Yeah, and I will like, there's always just bad vibes down there. Very bad vibes. It didn't feel good to be down there alone at night. Like, you're a kid and like that's where the TV was and that's where you'd want to hang out with your friends and stuff like that. And I would purposefully go to my friends' houses for sleepovers or to like have a movie night because I did not want to be in my basement. It creeped me out too much.
Yeah. And that is going to wrap up part 1 of Maggie's tales in her haunted family home. Like I said at the beginning, we're going to keep rocking with our spooky stories through the holidays, and part 2 of her experiences will be out next Friday. So stay tuned for that. And once again, folks, I hope you all enjoy getting together with friends, family, or whoever you like to spend your time with next week. So until next time, as always, thanks for listening, guys, and I hope to have you all back for some more scary stories.